second master skill has to do with commitment, will skills that bond us to our task. When we have a strong commitment and a strong will, it's like glue that holds two things together. And then when we have this really strong glue, no matter what happens, when we hear that voice of doom and gloom, nothing can take us away from our task of connecting and merging and becoming music. In order to have a strong glue, we have to glue two sides together. One side has to do with how does the music go. You gotta know how the tune goes. And this is a prerequisite to everything that we do. That is having it in our head so that anything that is different, we recognize what to do with it. The second side has to do with the technique. How do we apply this to playing the saxophone, to playing the piano, to playing a string instrument? In some cases, if it's written music, we have to be clear on our fingerings and our bowings and our articulations and our sounds. And so there's a certain amount of business that we have to take care of with our own technique so that we bring the right notes to the right chord and we certainly use the right fingerings. When we have those two sides clear, how does it go and how are we going to do this on our instrument? We put that strong glue, we intensify it, then we put on our Nike t-shirt and we just do it. So you'll notice with this commitment has to do with these two sides of knowing the music and knowing how we're going to do this on our instrument. The first two aspects of this visual have to do with getting the music in our head, getting the rhythms and getting the melody together. Then we have to do the second side, which has to do with committing to our fingerings, our interpretation, our technique. In terms of learning and practicing, it's ideal if we get this in our head, we have a visual image and a sound image of how this goes, and then in the tradition of just doing it, it just comes out. It just is. It's not something we even have to practice. If we learn what we want to play before we play it, then it's all done. And the learning takes place in advance. It takes place before and it takes place in our brains and our bodies. And then it's just a matter of doing it. The third master skill of the inner game has to do with trust. Trust is a difficult word because we could use the word trust in a number of different contexts. I do not believe in the word trust referring to just believing everything will be fine. I'm using the word trust to refer to point to what is it that we are trusting as a musician to guide us and to represent the music. We, in some cases, may not trust a tempo marking as opposed to trusting a feeling of excitement as opposed to a number. Instead of playing a rhythm or playing a harmony, we might want to trust the playfulness or the joy or the song quality. So trusting the character of the music is a great example. We want to trust the character. We want to trust the calmness, the excitement, the beauty, the energy. This is a wonderful example of a character. You can trust an environment. You can trust the way you play when you're playing with your friends at home as opposed to playing in a competition when somebody's judging you. You can trust an environment like being outside and playing in the comfort of nature and comfort of trees, or playing with friends, with dear friends and colleagues as opposed to playing with strangers. You could also trust your role model. You could trust your favorite recording, playing an artist that plays the music that you're playing. And imagine if you were that great improviser, if you were Joshua Redmond, he would play it like this, so I'm going to play a little bit like Joshua Redmond. This is an example of trusting someone else to actually capture their energy and their qualities that they bring to the music, bringing it into yourself and playing with those same qualities. It's a very simple thing to do. So I would like to bring you to an example of trust, of role-playing like we just spoke about, that has to do with trusting the casual quality of the music that is represented by an artist who specializes in that. And in this situation, we're going to visit a wind ensemble, and this demonstration took place a long time, so you're going to see me with a lot more hair and a lot more trim, and that's just the way it goes. But nevertheless, we're going to meet Gene Corporon and the University of Cincinnati Wind Ensemble, and he's going to coach his trumpet player and horn player in performing their music, which sounds somewhat tight and somewhat confined and anxious, to a more casual style, kind of like Chuck Mangione.
This is an example of role-playing, which is one of Tim Galway's most famous techniques. By imitating the Itzhak Perlmans, George Shearings, or Eddie Daniels of the world, we draw upon their qualities of greatness that we don't expect to find in ourselves.
Actually, some very nice things. Can I ask John and Sean, please, if you could play in a little more relaxed style? What's happening is you're putting accuracy in front of feeling. And I'd like to have a little more feelingful kind of approach, more commercial, looser, casual. Maybe kind of like Chuck Mangione might play it, kind of that casual approach to playing, that kind of relaxed style.
Gene, I just happen to have a recording of Chuck Mangione playing in this casual style. And Sean, let's listen to this sound and see if this captures the quality that we're after. It's just like really loose, laid back, no cares. Okay, John and Sean, you're Chuck Mangione.
29.
This next segment is with a high school jazz ensemble, and it's a trust example of the character of a dialogue, which could also be an argument or even a fight between the brass section and the sax section. And so you will see how this evolves from just playing the notes and getting into the role, into the character of the fight between the brass and the saxes.
I don't think you guys have quite the right concept here. This is like a statement. The brass have a repeating statement. It's the same thing. And then the saxes have a little answering figure. Think of it like it's your parents yelling at you to clean up your room. The brass are your parents, saxes, you're giving them a whole list of excuses. Each one of them is different. Try that. Maybe let's try this. Turn around and face each other. Saxes, turn your chairs around. Put your music on the other side. Let's not take all day. Keep listening to the rhythm. Okay? Let's try that again. Think. The brass are making a statement, you're answering them. They're yelling at you, you yell back. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's better, but let's see if we can carry this one step farther. It sounds like you're still reading the music, so let's move the stands out of the way, stand up, get rid of the notes, and get into the music. Really loosen up. Get into, it's like a battle back and forth. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
we hear in our head, and being able to connect with our music, with our pure existence of connecting and being at one with the sound, the sights, the sounds, the feelings, with the commitment that has to do with how we play our music and what the music is all about, and the true inspiration of the music, the trust skills that really represent what brought this music to us in the first place. Our goal with the inner game has to do with replacing those thoughts of doubts and fear with actual live music, the music that we understand. And if you stick with your techniques of awareness, commitment, and trust, that's all about the music. That's all good stuff. To master the inner game, all you need to do is learn the difference between inner games and outer games, and learn when to look away and to connect with the music. It's going on all the time. It's right there. Keep it simple. Do one thing at a time, and don't forget to have fun.